Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dylan arc of the Monomaniacs podcast. Introducing your host, Dylan Shadrach.
Hey, hello everybody. Hello and welcome to Monomaniacs. Yeah, over there, looking at you. Welcome it to you, the one who is listening right now. Oh, and the audience, the in-studio audience, of course. Well, I am not going to spare any expense. You are all paid extras in the audience, of course. Not to say they're not fans, because they're also fans. But paid extras in the audience so that you, the listener, and the viewer get a full experience like you're actually watching a fully produced show. And those are real people, by the way. And we've also released real crickets into the studio as well so that you know if things are going poorly, right? Which, obviously, I don't need to tell you when things are going poorly. You're going to figure that out very quickly. Now, I can hear you saying, Dylan, what makes the Dylan arc different from the usual Monomaniacs content? And there's a couple of things. First and foremost, we are all about positivity and good vibes here on the Dylan arc. As you guys know, I've spoken about this many times on the pod, especially recently. I feel like the vibes are down, right, on the podcast. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of I'm going to say it, backstabbery, right, on podcast, people just going at one another. And I wanted something that was more like, an Oprah-style positivity, right, for you to come away from listening to this show feeling like you are enlightened, lifted, I dare say, and ready to face your day. So that's what we're going to try to do here. And number two, right, what's another major difference? Well, first and foremost, incredible guests on this arc of Monomaniacs. And I'm very excited right now. I might be sounding a little flustered, and that's because I'm not joking here when I say this. We have remotely Dan Aykroyd on the podcast. I know, it's crazy. Dan Aykroyd's going to be calling into the show. He's going to be promoting his newest vodka. I don't remember the name of it. I think he'll remind me when he gets on here, but he's going to be coming on for that. And that's already awesome, right? That's already really cool. But we also are going to have a musical guest on the episode, and I'm saying, do I hear Jack Johnson? Jack Johnson's going to be on the podcast, everybody. We're going to put a space right here. I'm going to move over. He's going to sit down. He's going to start playing some tunes. It's going to be great. So you guys have a lot to look forward into the episode. And three, right? What this show has been missing all along is structure, right? You guys noticed this in the podcast. I'm always being like, hey, we got to move on to the Patreon acceptance section, where we got to answer questions. We got to make sure we hit all these beats. And I feel like I'm railroaded often, and thrown aside. And so this time we are going to be very particular. We're going section by section, minute by minute. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the ride around the way. So I know it's kind of weird to open with this, but I think we should start with an opening monologue, right? Opening monologue, I think a lot of shows do that. I think it's fun. Well, crazy, huh? Well, today, everybody out here been getting those texts, right? Those spam texts, and the thing about me is I don't get spam texts. I get people just randomly texting my number. I don't understand what the deal with that is. Just today, I got this text from a random number from my area code. So, I had my ears perked up when I saw it that said, you sandbagging son of a bitch, ... It's 5 dots there, right? That's more than the average ellipses. This is showing that they mean business, followed by a sweary face, right? That one with the red and the bar on its mouth with, it's probably saying something worse than son of a bitch, which I know. And on this podcast, impossible, right? You never hear anything that bad. Followed by 6 handicap my ass, ... So when I received this text, I may have been slightly inebriated. So I'm gonna provide that additional context before I move on to my response, which was lol, get wrecked, right? I really wanted to show 2 things. One, obviously this guy had an attitude, and I wanted him to back down, right? And 2, why not mess with the man, right? He's obviously in a bad place. Why not make it worse? Well, what's the worst that could happen? He responds with coming for you, ... I have become a little nervous at this point. What if this person actually knows who I am and they are now gunning for me? I didn't know what to do. But then again, I was, intoxicated. So I followed up with you and what army, right? really poking the bear on this one. And he responded with easy Rudy, ... Rudy capitalized. At this point, I assume Rudy is the gentleman that I am being, that he believes me to be. So I wanted to mine a little deeper here and figure out exactly what was going on, but I also wanted to keep the shtick going. I wanted him to feel a little bit poked, so I said, "New phone, who dis?" ? Right, a classic line. To which he responded, "Rack, R-A-K." So this gentleman's named Rack. I can't make fun of that really, due to my my nephew's middle name. For those that don't know, his middle name is Rock. So I mean, Rack is just one step of a difference. So I thought, oh, fine, okay. To which I responded, "Think you might have the wrong number, homie. What's my name?" I wanted to make sure that if he could say my name, then he might, know who I am. And he said, "Sorry, I do." Which is, understandable. To which I responded with, "Lol, get wrecked." Yeah, just sort of ended that the way it started. I really do feel like the only thing you can do in that situation is have fun with it, because so often you get so much bad spam texts that are about your mortgage or your car warranty. And, oftentimes when you get something like this, it is a golden opportunity because somebody's already having a bad day and they've already made a major mistake. Why not make it worse, right? Now, I did talk about positive vibes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redact what I just said and say instead, just say, "Sir, I'm sorry. I believe you have the wrong number." That's up to you. Speaking of good vibes, we're moving on to our next segment, which is Good News, everyone, in which we talk about things in the news that are positive. I know that a lot of you are at home feeling sad about the state of the world, where whichever side of the aisle you're on, you feel as though things are going to pot, which is just the sad reality of things. There's war, right? There's disease, there's famine, hunger, tragedy every single day on this earth. And I thought, how about we talk about things that might bring you some light, right, in this dark world? So I'm going to throw it over to our producer, Josh. What's our first news story on Good News, everyone?
All right, so our pre-production team looked far and wide across the country, across the world even, to find good news.
Okay, cool.
They looked on the internet. They looked in newspapers. They listened to some podcasts.
So you're saying they're very thorough.
Very
we got
thorough.
a great staff on this show. We do.
Great staff. Props to all of them. No stone unturned in this quest. And there is no good news. There's
not a single good thing that happened?
Nope. They weren't able to find anything.
When I paid for the band.
That was not a good call.
I paid for the band to be here. I can't believe that they would, stab me in the back by playing a note like that, or a phrase like that, I guess, or melody like that. I don't know. I don't know music. I'm just really flustered and frustrated now because of. You think you guys could have told me before we started recording the show, maybe, that we didn't have any news to talk about.
Yeah, we dropped the ball on that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We got nothing.
And here I was saying you were the best in the biz.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week.
Yeah, tomorrow? This is not a nightly show. We don't have that kind of budget. Come on, okay. All right, well, okay, instead, I guess we could talk about things that are more general, right? One of the things that a common complaint about the show, if I'm honest, is people are DMing me all the time saying, "Dylan, we don't feel like you talk about the important topics enough. You don't talk about the issues, right? You're not talking about what's happening in the world in a more academic sense, right? Giving your opinion on things like climate change or religion versus the state, or things like that." And what we've done is we put together an algorithm, right, of all of the major topics going on right now, because we can't just pick one. This thing is going to randomly pick one for us to discuss, something that's people are talking about on the internet, on Twitter, Facebook, wherever it might be, so that I can give my thoughts. So I'm going to throw this over back to our production team, stellar production team, by the way. Don't screw it up this time. And please, what am I going to be talking about today?
All right, let's hit the button and see what we get. Adult circumcision, pro or con?
Did you say adult circumcision?
Yep, still says adult circumcision, pro or con.
You spun it again and it came up with adult circumcision twice.
I can do it another time. Yep, still adult circumcision.
So you're saying it's such a major topic that no matter how many times you press that button, it's going to come out as adult circumcision.
It's popping up a lot in the magazines, the newspapers, the internet, all those outlets that I mentioned before. Yeah, that's all that people are talking about.
You're lucky.
Elon is tweeting. Elon has a pinned tweet about it right now.
About is he pro or con? Sorry, I don't want to be influenced.
You don't
want
to know. You don't want to know. We can bring it up later.
Well, thankfully, I guess I do have opinions on it. First off, I want to highlight something that this is a very real issue. This is something that happens more than you think. Folks that convert to Judaism in their adult age do, in fact, become circumcised. And not only that, if you change traditions within the Jewish church, they've got different methods. So sometimes you have to be circumcised in different ways throughout, your life. So my opinions, my thoughts. Listen. It's your body. You can do with it what you will. You can tattoo. You can pierce. Why not cleft your body in order to show your devotion to Jehovah, right? I don't know if it's too much of a jump. I'm sorry, but what's the issue? Why are people mad about this?
Yeah, so it's split right down the political spectrum.
Yeah, split down at the tip of things.
Yep.
Yes,
we have to get
point.
We have to get to the point of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think yes. Mm-hmm. It's an issue that cuts across all sorts of demographics. You would be very surprised.
Yes, I'd imagine so. You're telling me that people are split on it, but I don't know in what ways. How about this? Should someone do it for non-religious reasons? I think that's an important distinction, right? I think we can all agree that, if you would like to convert to Judaism, it's important to do. I mean, theologically, it makes sense. But what if you weren't circumcised when you were born and you thought that was a big old mistake? I want to remedy that at a later time, right? What about that? Pros and both sides, obviously. Hygiene, pro. That's a pro right there. Mm-hmm. Con, insufferable pain for long periods of time.
What about appearance?
In appearance. Yeah, that's a tough one. In my opinion, aesthetically, pro-circumcision, right? Efficiency, pro not being circumcised. That I won't elaborate on that any further. I think the audience can sort of fill in the blank there. Yep. But it's definitely a pro in general, right? Because I think aesthetics matter, right? More than anything. I think, you should really be treating your body in a way. I mean, look at mine, right? I just look at the face, look at the hair, look at the physique, right? Okay, I paid you significant money, Mr. Drummer Man. What's your name? Actually, I don't care. I don't care what your name is. You're Mr. Drummer Man now. Okay. All right. I wanted you to do that in 20 minutes when I got to that bit, the really good bit. Speaking of good bit, adult circumcision, I think in general, I'm going to come out as pro. I am pro adult circumcision. Am I going to be canceled for that? Is that something I shouldn't be saying out loud, just in general?
No, the split is not across political lines.
It's true.
It's racial mostly and age.
Yes, demographic.
Yeah.
The boomers are very pro circumcision.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Zoomers, they don't know what to make of it at this point.
Yeah. I mean, they could go either way. And often have. They have.
Yes.
Okay.
But really, you can only go one way once. You can't go.
Well, actually, not entirely. Not entirely. This is something that can be reversed. They've got incredible surgeries out there. Our doctors here in America are incredible. They're amazing. Shout out to the healthcare workers of this nation. They are really, there you go. Yeah, they've done a lot for us these last few years. And I do not doubt in my life, or I would swear on my life that if they could resurrect the dead, as they so often do, they could resurrect. Yeah, I couldn't think of a word that was safe for TV at the end of that phrase.
They also can't resurrect the dead, can they?
I mean, what do you call? I think you're right. Actually, I don't think they do. I was thinking of Dr. Frankenstein, but he's a doctor though, so that makes. I mean, you got to give me that at the very least. Okay, anyway, let's move on. We've got our Patreon questions, guys. We got Patreon questions from our patrons. One thing you may not know, and I hope you do if you listen to this show, is that we are supported by our patrons. We could not do the show without them, and as you can see, the production value here is just skyrocketed since really I've taken charge, right? And I've become sort of the forward face of this podcast. I'm not going to brag, but you wouldn't get things like a drummer that's there just to accentuate the jokes. There he is. He's going for it. That wasn't a joke. That was just an observation, but I do appreciate the enthusiasm, though last time it was very misplaced. This time, fine. You get a pass on that. So I want to throw out a thank you to all our patrons and also a new patron, Anders. This is the name you gave on Patreon. I know what your last name is, Anders, but I don't know about giving it just because you didn't put it on the Patreon. So I won't do that for now, but let me know if you want me to correct that. And of course, our top patrons, Joe Papalardo, Sammy Roberts, Zach and Amber Strehle, and Luke Robson. Thank you so much. We literally could not do the show without you. Thank you. Yeah, the audience really loves it. They keep on going about it. So one of the things you can do, you can get access to our Patreon post show, and this one's going to be a hoot and a holler, right? I got a lot more surprises for everybody when we get there. But what you can also do is ask us questions. The patrons can ask us questions, and we will answer them on air. And so, as we know, this is a live show. This is a live recording. If you're not here to catch it live, then I'm going to say you're going to miss out because you can't ask us these questions. I'm going to throw this over to our production staff. What questions we have from the Patreon audience?
All right, we have collected questions far and wide from the Patreon audience across the country. We've collected them on Twitter. We've collected them on YouTube, and we've collected them on our own Discord. Only the Discord ones count. I do want to point that out.
I feel like you're setting me up to fall here. Have you done this? You've done this bit before.
We have no Patreon questions. And I have no further answers at this time.
Stop! Thank you. I feel like I'm putting a lot of work into this. Like I've got the whole bit going. We got the audience. The audience itself, those clappers are, the Thurl SAG, it's at least $300 a person an hour. I mean, it's way too much. Yeah. I will say that is impressive that you guys can do that, though. That is impressive. That is worth a 300. Anyway, I feel like I'm putting a lot of work in here, and we don't have any content. The content seems to be drying up right now. There doesn't seem to be anything going on. So I'm just going to say that's unfortunate. But hey, we're about positivity. We're about positivity here. And one thing that we did put a ton of work into that can't be taken away from us is our guest lineup, right? That one of the huge parts of our preparation here was getting the guests on the show. And so, without further ado, I think we're going to connect remotely to our first guest. So let's put him up on the screen. Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd should be popping up right here behind me any second now. Any second now. Production team, where's Dan? Where's Danny?
Yeah, we had him on the line. We connected him. He was connected with us in that way, and he left.
He left?
Yeah.
He can't go. It's all remote. He didn't go anywhere, right? He didn't have something he had to do, right?
Unclear. We did call him back. He picked it up again, and then he hung up again. It seems intentional. It seems pointed to me.
Okay, well, I'm a little flabbergasted. I have to say, I'm a little flustered. But hey, we do have our music guest. We could at least bring him out here. I'm gonna get up and move the chair. We got Jack Johnson, everybody. Bring him out if he's ready. Get the chair. Get the chair over here for him. But is he not coming?
Yeah, so he was here. He drove here. He locomoted. He moved himself here. He walked into the building.
Listen, I don't want to hear your bullshit, okay? What happened?
He sat down. He spoke with us. He and I had actually a really pleasant conversation. Talked about breakfast foods made with fruit. But he left as well.
So he just got up and left? Like he got up and walked out the door?
Yeah.
Is there something you said to him about it? Did you say cantaloupe was good or something? What did you say?
Nope. I was, we talked about plantains. We talked about bananas. We talked about waffles. Like lots of different things. It didn't have anything to do with that, actually. I did get a little hint from him and from Dan Aykroyd as well. And just something I kind of picked up in the conversation, looking back at my text threads and the conversations I've had with them back and forth. They wanted to come and they wanted to make a point, actually, by leaving. And I am just kind of realizing this now. I should have been a better producer up front and picked up on some of these details. But both of them independently mentioned the episode where you and Shad ranked the continents. And like I said, I had good conversations with them, but that did stick out to me as a sore spot for both of them. They did say the continent thing was a little over the top.
I didn't even rank the continents. That wasn't even me. I didn't even do that.
Yeah,
that was Shad. Shad was the one that did that.
They might think that you're Shad. Like they might not be able to tell you apart yet at this point. I don't know if there's avid fans as our Patreon supporters.
So are you saying they took one look at me in person, right, and thought that was the guy that put Africa just a little too low on the continents
clearly
list?
Xenophobic, yes. Or maybe they saw the mustache. They did not
Excuse
tell me
me?
that.
You saw. What about the mustache?
Nothing. The whole staff here loves it. We've just been talking about how great it is.
Because, when you say that, it sounds like you don't think it's great. Listen, okay? First off, you're telling me you're in text conversations with these two semi-frequently.
It's been like 6 months.
Yeah, which, of course, I do not believe because you're Josh, right? I should be the one in text conversations with Dan Aykroyd. Okay, I'm the star of this show, right? You're behind the microphone, doing your little tip-tap thing. I don't even know what you're doing because whenever I pass it over to you, I get nothing. I get zilch. What are you doing?
Oh, he just texted me again. Hang on.
Which one? Which one of them?
Jack Johnson. Oh, it's just a recipe for banana pancakes. Don't worry about it. I can airdrop it to you if you want.
Thanks, I will take that.
Okay.
I will take the banana pancakes recipe. Okay, well, I guess you gotta talk a little bit about the elephant in the room here. I gotta be very clear. I mean, if we want to have more people on the show, right, more people of the stature that we were hoping for, that we worked very hard for, right? We were in contract negotiations, I mean, almost since this podcast began to try to make this happen, right? One of our first fans, one of our first listeners, Dan Aykroyd, right? He heard us talking about geckos, and he thought, man, I really want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that show. I, too, think geckos are better than dogs. And much like Shad has retracted that statement, I think that I can't speak for Shad, but I want to say, first and foremost, if you think that this show supports xenophobia, if it supports saying that one continent is better than another continent, you may be on its face accurate. You may be objectively true, objectively a true fact. Regardless who's behind this mic and talking, I think that you should also practice forgiveness and just sort of, God forgives for just us asking for it, not even we do have to say we're sorry. I'm not going to say we're sorry about it, but I will say that I absolve you. I wash your hands of this, right? Because if you want to come on the show, it will not reflect poorly on you, and I feel like I'm the one to be able to say that. Though I think Shad would be better to do that. And if you're our next guests, if you're listening, our next guests, we have Chris Christie. It's guest number 1. And our music guest is Creed, the band Creed. Now, if you're listening, and I know you are, especially you, Chris, if you're listening, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. I'm a good guy. We're all good people here. Can't speak for Josh. Obviously, he's not great at what he does, but hey, we're good people. Anyway, well, so that was a lot of what we had planned, kind of not come together. I'm gonna be honest. What I'm really the most surprised about is I came up here today, onto this chair. I crawled up onto this chair today with the expectation that we were going to have a lot of things coming together that all seemed to fall apart, which, as a performer is not a place you want to be. I got to fill time. I got a brand new segment for everybody. We got a brand new segment. It's called What's Shad Up To? What's Shad Up To? Where we call Shad and we see what he's doing.
And we don't have Shad.
Just give it one more second. Just one more second, please. Please. Well, I guess in your darkest hour, you do know who your true friends are. Even though I may not be getting a lot of support, I can depend on Josh to be there, be a seat. All you people in the audience, right? Though I will say that we probably can't pay you due to how things are sort of faltered. I don't think we're going to probably get the sponsorships that we thought we were going to get. So I can hear that you're not clapping, see that you're not clapping, which I get you should not be working any more than what you're getting paid to do. Well, I guess we still have plenty of time to fill. So let's go on to a new segment. It's called naming adventure. Yeah, the naming adventure. Yeah, where I name things that I see in the room. Yeah, I name things I'm looking around. We got over there. We got a light switch. We got a light switch going. It's got two of them actually on the same housing right over there. We got plenty of chairs in this room. We got all sorts of chairs. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chairs in this room. 5 whole chairs. Plants. These are real, genuine plants. This is oxygen filling the room. It feels so nice in here. It feels like I'm out on the mountains. I'm out enjoying the. I'm sorry. When I put this together, what I talked about at the start, it's positivity, right? Positivity, and I want to say 2 things. 1, don't let this wear you down. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to you. This may not be ideal. And you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, no, this is not ideal. Damn it, this is not ideal at all. In fact, I want all my Patreon money back. I want to find Dylan and physically hurt him would physically damage him for the chicanery that has involved me stealing your money, basically, right, by putting this together. But I talked earlier about forgiveness, and I talked about strength and positivity, and if anything, give me just what I would want to give to you. And two, I think we've learned that positivity isn't everything, and sometimes content needs more than positivity, I guess. So, I mean, we learned some lessons. We're going to come back stronger. Yeah, we're going to come back stronger next week. I'm pretty confident, right? Yeah, we got our crack team is going to work on it. We're going to be back. It's going to be kick-ass. We're going to get Chris Christie on here. Chris, he's going to be on here. Yeah. People are still applauding for Chris Christie nowadays, so that's good for him. Good for him that that's happening. And we got the Patreon. We got the Patreon coming up next. We love you. Yeah, we'd love to see you guys there, as usual. But anyway, thank you all for your time. And I guess this has been Monomaniacs, I guess. So goodbye, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Dylan arc of the Monomaniacs podcast. Join us again next week, next Thursday, for another Dylan arc adventure. Thanks to all of our podcast listeners, our Patreon folks. Join us next week for the Dylan arc of the Monomaniacs podcast. Goodbye.